Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of Currently Playing. And it's been a very quiet June and May, and sure to be early July when it comes to gaming. Um, it's a good time for people to catch up on their backlogs, and I've been doing a little bit of that. But I've tried some stuff out, so let's just talk about them. The one game I would love to talk to you about tonight, but I can't, is The Walking Dead episode 2. If you haven't played Walking Dead yet, try the trial for the game. It's really great adventure, story-driven game, where it's kind of like a choose-your-own adventure and like a point-and-click adventure, but very story-based, not even puzzle-based, just very story-based and making choices and stuff, and quite engaging and captivating and really good, really good. And that came out. I forgot, like, I want to say it was like April, and they were supposed to have a new episode every month, and your decisions go through it. And no, nothing in May, and they just are barely making June. It's out now on Xbox Live, the second episode. So if you've been waiting, go get it. But if you haven't tried it at all, it's really good. $5 per episode. Or on PSN, which is what I bought it on because it's cheaper, it's $20 for the whole thing. You're saving $5 because it's going to be a 5-episode game. But definitely check it out. You don't have to be a fan of The Walking Dead because it doesn't have much to do with the TV show. I don't think it really has to do with the comic either. It's its own story within that universe. But you don't even have to be a big zombie fan. If you just want to if you want to try out a fun story-driven game, I highly recommend The Walking Dead. To me, it's kind of like Heavy Rain or something like that, but better. But unfortunately, it doesn't come out on PSN until Friday, episode 2, so I can't really talk about that tonight, but just throw that in there. I did play, over the last week or two, I've been playing Silent Hill 3 on the Silent Hill HD collection, which, God, what is wrong with me? Which is available on 360 and PS3. Of course, you can play the original games on PS2 and Xbox, I think. Or at least, yeah, I know you can play Silent Hill 2 on Xbox. I saw it at the store. But anyways, I don't know if I talked about this series at all when I did my my 360 collection video. But basically, I'd never played it before. But I like these types of games, like survival horror. I like the old Resident Evils. So I bought this collection to try them both out. And I mean, like I said, I don't know if I talked about this before, but 2 kind of really blew me away. Especially just the story in it and the subject matter. The ending, I thought it was very emotional and very mature. The game earns its mature rating not just from being scary, but from the subject matter that it deals with. Which in the second one was like disease and losing somebody. And it did very well. And I beat 2 like a couple months ago. I shelved this game, and then when I ran out of stuff to play, I busted out again. I'm like, well, let's play 3 now. And 3, I don't feel 3 is as good. I don't know what the story was. I wasn't paying attention that much. It's some cult bullshit nonsense. Really weird, fucked up story. And I didn't like it as much, at least from... It didn't, like, there wasn't an ending where I almost cried or anything like that. It was just like, okay, and the ending was just like, the final scene was like, man, that final cutscene doesn't stack up to shit compared to Silent Hill 2. But the game was fun. It's the same type of game, very, old school survival horror, which is always fun. I have to say that the puzzles and the level design in this game is just very... like opaque and convoluted, and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing half the time? But a little more so than I think than Resident Evil. I think Resident Evil, you kind of figure out your way around the map you're on, and the puzzles become pretty clear. Some of the puzzles in these games are like fucked up, but I got through them both, and yeah, like I said, Silent Hill 2 I think is a classic. Silent Hill 3 is just more of the same, but there are a few. There's an amusement park area in Silent Hill 3, which I thought was worth you know, the whole ride. Um, you go into a haunted mansion that's clearly inspired by Disney's Haunted Mansion, like their ride. You know, with the announcer who's talking to you, and they even do the whole thing where like the lightning flashes, and then you see out the window someone had hung themselves. I mean, that's straight out of the Haunted Mansion ride. If you want to disagree with that, you're crazy. That part I loved, and then there's a carousel scene near the end of that level where you're on, you know, this carousel, and the horses, like, you gotta like kill the horses on it. I don't know, but it's just there's something really just something wrong and disturbing about that. But I really enjoy both these games. If you didn't grow up on survival horror, if you're new to gaming, and like say you've started with Resident Evil 4 and 5, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? But if you know, remember this era, you like these games, well, you either played them or you're like me and you only played Resident Evil or whatever. They're good games, in my opinion. I tried out Lego Batman 2, which everyone loves the Lego games, and like this one's supposed to be better than the rest of them. I find the Lego games boring. I don't, you know, sorry to be the party pooper, sourpuss, but I just find them boring. I owned Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. I played like through most of it, and I was like, God, why am I playing this? This is so boring. Lego Batman 2 is better. Like it has, and it's definitely the first like big step forward for the Lego games. You know, you have voice acting. I guess you have an open world structure in Lego Batman 2. I don't think I got far enough to really mess with that. I did do a little driving around the Batmobile, but you know, it was kind of, it seemed like it was on a track. Like you have to go to the Batcave. Like I said, I played like an hour, maybe two. I played through the whole first level and some of the. I remember where I stopped. I stopped at there was this maze that you find, and Catwoman's driving around on a motorcycle, and you're supposed to stop her somehow, and I couldn't figure it out. Like I got stuck, and I was, you know, I returned the game. So if you're a fan of the Lego games, I think you're gonna like it. But I'm not a fan of them, and it didn't change my mind at all. I was like, this is still, it's better. It's definitely better. There's definite emphasis on puzzle solving in this one, and the puzzles can be pretty tricky. Like sometimes you're like, what am I supposed to do? And like I said, they added voice acting, open world. Like they really stepped up their game on this, which it would be easy for them to just release the same shit over and over. I mean, that said, this is a very, you know, it feels like the Lego games. It's just a little, like they put a little more effort and they tried to change up the formula a little bit. But it wasn't enough to sway me. So if you're someone that is like, I usually don't like the Lego games, but I love Batman or whatever, I heard this one's a lot better. It's better, but most people love these games. And if you're not one of them, I don't think Lego Batman 2 is going to sway you. It didn't sway me. I was like, I could take it or leave it, honestly. Maybe they're a little more fun with someone else, but I don't know. I didn't care. I didn't care. It's not a bad game at all. And lastly, I'm trying out a new game that just came out this week. There's two games that came out this week. There's Spec Ops: The Line, and there was The Amazing Spider-Man movie tie-in. And I didn't buy it, but I went with Amazing Spider-Man. I will try out Spec Ops: The Line, and maybe in the next episode of this I'll talk about it. But I went with Amazing Spider-Man because I've actually been kind of looking forward to this game. As bad as some of the recent Spider-Man games have been, and despite the fact that there's never been a great Spider-Man game, yes, that's a fact. If you could name me one, let me know. But I really enjoyed Spider-Man 2. That's the whole point here, is what I'm trying to get to. I enjoyed Spider-Man 2, and you know, this one looked like it had a lot in common with that, and it looked like, you know, I read a preview article that was in a Game Informer, and it sounded good to me. It had some good ideas, and the fact that they're going back to Manhattan, open world, like that's how I feel like the Spider-Man series should be. Unless you're doing it on a handheld, where maybe side scroller makes sense. But now on a handheld, like you got the Vita, you got the 3DS, you could do an open world Spider-Man. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is I've been kind of looking forward to this. You know, despite all those things I just said, and despite the fact that Beanox, the developer of this, they did Shattered Dimensions, which people generally liked, and I didn't. And they did Edge of Time, which people generally didn't like, and that came out like 8 months ago or something. And then they have another Spider-Man game to tie in with the movie. You know, movie tie-ins are usually bad, this and that. But, you know, Beanox claimed that they had teams working on it for years now. This wasn't just a rushed movie tie-in. You know, they had open world Manhattan, lots of side missions. And they're talking about this new ability in it called Web Rush. I think that's what it's called. Where basically you could slow down time, basically put it at a pause, and you can look around and you kind of choose where you want Spider-Man to go next. You could do this mid-swing, you could do it whenever. I was like, that sounds interesting. So I've been looking forward to it. And I saw it got kind of mixed reviews, but, you know, generally favorable. And I am generally favorable on the game. The game is actually quite fun. There's a lot I actually like about it. The combat, for one, is definitely more my speed and what I like in combat. Normally these games have been, like the combat has been very kind of button mashy. I don't want to say like God of War, but just those games that are like that I'm not into. And this combat is really simplified and, you know, straightforward, and it kind of feels like, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to argue with it otherwise, that they kind of like ripped off Batman Arkham Asylum. It's got that same very simple combat, and you could kind of be stealthy in this, and there's parts where you should be stealthy, but, you know, it's definitely kind of like Batman, but less stealthy, more just run in there and fuck shit up, you know. Grab a big fucking thing, throw it at everybody, and, you know, blow stuff up, and beat the hell out of them. But it's very simple, like, you know, X to attack, Y to dodge. I mean, it's clearly inspired by Batman, which I like. It makes the combat very fun. There are parts that I've played so far where you do like combat out in the city, and it's largely like aerial combat. Basically, I was chasing around these like robots, these flying robots. And God, it was just really fun, and just the scale of these battles is just amazing. You're just like flying across the city and fighting in the air, and it just is a lot of fun. The few bosses I've fought so far I thought were pretty cool. Like, there was one robot boss I thought was especially funny. Like, you fight him in a park or something, maybe Central Park. There's a few I fought Scorpion and Rhino, and they're kind of similar. They're like just stronger enemies. You just kind of gotta avoid them and run in and just hit on them when you can. But like, yeah, the combat's very fun. The shit that goes down in the city, like when there's an action sequence that is not in an indoor level, they're really, really fun. In fact, I feel like more of the game and its levels, so to speak, should have been outdoor, because when the battle starts going outdoor and in the air, it's just, oh my god, it's a blast. But the indoor levels are fun as well. They're well designed. The game looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't look like a huge budget game. It's not like cutting edge innovation or anything in the graphics. It just looks good, especially considering when some of the stuff that's going on out in the city, the game is not, you know, having any problems with it. You know, there's no frame rate drops, you know, no bugs. I haven't got stuck inside the side of a building or anything. Like, all this is really smooth, really cool animations to these battles and stuff out in the city. It just looks cool, man. Like, you know, something will blow up, it'll blow up really big and, like, you know, kind of blow up half the city, and you have to, like, web swing out of it just in time so it doesn't get you, and then you just, or if you get hit, you kind of go flying, and the camera, it stays all cinematic, and, like, you land on your ass and shit in the street, and it just looks really cool. like I said, the indoor levels are designed pretty well. There's enough variety to them. There's some like kind of stealth parts to like kind of figure out where you're going. The web rush ability is really cool. Basically, you hold down the right trigger, not the right trigger, but the right bumper at any time. You can look around, choose where you want Spider-Man to go, and he'll get there. You know, so there's kind of stealth parts where you're trying to get through a bunch of lasers. You kind of wait till like the lasers are like, you know, there's an opening for you, and you web rush right through it. Or you could do it anytime you want. You're in the city, you like stop in midair. You're like, I want to go that way, and you can like choose that way and go flying that way, and it looks just really cool. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I can say that's bad about it so far. Probably the only thing I don't really. Oh, and well, yeah. Probably the only thing I don't really like about it is the web swinging, which is weird because that was the best part of Spider-Man 2. It's just, you know, swinging around Manhattan, exploring. I remember, you know, back when I played Spider-Man 2, was going to see where the Twin Towers were and stuff, and they had the lights there, and I was all like, wow, this is totally cool how they did that. The web swinging in this is too simple, which is weird because I just praised the combat for being great because it's simple. But the web swinging, the other one, was kind of fun. You kind of had to like figure out what you're doing a little bit, and you had to like release and then throw out another web, and you know, I think it was like hold down A to make you swing faster and get a bigger, you know, get a little bit higher, a little more speed. Here, I mean, I guess you could kind of do it. I still kind of play it like I'm playing Spider-Man 2, but you don't have to release the right trigger at all. You could hold it down at any point, and Spider-Man's going to keep swinging. You could be higher than all the buildings so that there's nothing for your web to attach to, and you'll just be like, and start swinging, and you just hold down the trigger and you can keep swinging. And honestly, that's kind of like the only thing that's really disappointing me so far, because I mean, it ruins some of the fun of the web swing. It makes it feel automatic. Whereas in Spider-Man 2, it was really fun to do because you could get good at it, and you had to have actually something to attach to, and you actually had to hit something. Like, it was more interactive. You got to control the speed of your swing and stuff a little bit more. I don't know why they changed it that way. Maybe just to make it easier and generally dumb everything down. But it's not a game killer for me at all. I mean, it was just one thing. I was just like, oh, that sucks. But yeah, other things. I mean, there's side quests all over the place. I mean, they're really generic. You'll just see a spot, you know, show up on your map, and oh, it's someone getting robbed, so you go and beat someone up, but it's kind of cool. Like, after you do it, the citizen will thank you and stuff. Like, they'll often walk up and take a picture of you with their cell phone and shit. There's like, anytime you're in a loading screen or like the pause screen, there's like basically a Twitter feed going on, and it's just New York City slots, and it's just like people saying stuff like, "Oh my God, a giant robot snake in New York," and shit's getting real crazy. Which, I mean, that is whatever. It's cool that it's there. One thing also that I really like about this game is it has something that a lot of older open world games used to have, and they really need to bring this back, is the collectibles and shit that are all over the city. I still remember I think it was True Crime New York City, trying to get all the bones that were scattered all over the city so I could get Snoop Dogg in the game. I think I finally did do that at some point, even though that game was a fucking mess. But I like that stuff. Like, that was in the old GTAs, and they didn't really have that in the new, like, GTA 4. I don't know what they had. I don't think they had that stuff, like, where the hidden items all over the place. Here in Amazing Spider-Man, there's comic book pages fucking everywhere. And the cool thing is, every time you collect, like, I think they keep upping how many you need to get. But, like, you know, I think the first time you get 20 pages, it makes a comic. You get 30 pages, it makes another comic. And so on. And you can actually go in extras and read, like, I saw one of the ones I had was the first Amazing Spider-Man. I think it was called, like, Amazing Fantasies or some shit. I don't know. But they had it on there. Like, you could read the whole comic. And if you, like, dude, these comic book pages are everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're swinging, you're going to see one and you're like, ah, shit, I want to go get it. And if you're one of those people that really likes to go collect all those things that are hidden everywhere just for the fun of, like, kind of platforming and exploring the city, well, you're going to really enjoy that part of Amazing Spider-Man, because there's got to be thousands of them out there, because I see a dozen of them on the way to every mission. But anyways, I mean, I wouldn't say this game is like a fucking, 8 or a 9, or no, I might say it is an 8, because I don't have a lot of problems with it. It doesn't feel like a AAA title, but it's damn fun, man. I don't think I would buy it, but if I had bought it, I wouldn't be upset at all that I bought it. If I was a huge Spidey fan, this would be a buy, or just a huge comic book fan, this would be a buy. But just in general, it's fun. Like, I know I'll probably pick it up when it's cheaper. Like, when it's, that $17.99 area or less, I'll probably pick it up. But like I said, I wouldn't regret it if I had actually bought it. It's like I said, $60 is a lot for a game. It doesn't feel like a AAA title, but parts of it are just really, really fun. And they seem to kind of like pick and choose the best stuff in the genre and the best stuff from the Spider-Man series. And for a movie tie-in game, it's damn good, man. I know a lot of people are going to go in going, they just crapped out Spider-Man Edge of Darkness last year in the fall, and they're coming out with this in the summertime with the movie. It can't be good. It actually is good. It's quite a bit of fun. So, highly recommend Amazing Spider-Man. Can't say that for Lego Batman 2, although I know most people would probably disagree. And Silent Hill HD Collection, yeah, sure. You like survival horror? I like survival horror. Play it. But yeah, who knows what I'll be talking about next time. It'll probably be mostly Walking Dead and Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, which I just cannot wait for that game. But anyways, I've gone on for 22 minutes. This is officially probably my longest single clip video, so I'll shut the fuck up now and let me know what you've been playing.